Hey Bruno, you have a moment? We'll stand in front of your art, talk about it, if you don't mind. First, tell us your name
Bruno Nadalin.
and what do we have here?
These are a series of etchings, hard ground etching, soft ground etching.
What's the difference?
It's the type of, hard ground etching hardens and you kind of scratch into it. Soft ground always stays soft. And so it gives you kind of a different line where the hard ground gives you more like a pen line. The soft ground can give you more like a pencil, charcoal kind of line.
So it's about the manipulation of
Yeah.
what's on the medium.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it gives you a different feeling in the print.
So how do you get the color into the print as well?
The color is a method called sheen collé, where you're actually collaging and gluing paper onto the print itself, and you're kind of printing it all together with the ink and the support paper and this third paper, which is watercolored paper.
It doesn't appear like there's a third paper in there. I mean, is that the paper that the color was on and then the print goes over that paper?
Yeah, that's the paper that with the color is very, very thin, so it just, with the pressure of the press, it kind of gets, formed into the same layer. It all gets very, it becomes almost one piece. That's why you don't really see the third paper.
So how long has this printing technique been in existence? Any idea?
Etching or sheen collé, the one with color.
The one with the color.
I don't know. It became popular. I think it's a good question. I don't know specifically for that itself. I think probably end of the 19th century is when it became popular, but I could be wrong with that. Yeah, as opposed to etching, which has been around for several hundred years, of course.
What were you trying to evoke? What feeling were you trying to evoke with these particular images? I'm getting a feeling from them, but I don't want to say what I'm feeling. What were you trying to feel with these prints?
Well, with all of them, there's kind of this feeling of people pressing into each other, and they all feature these, even these two, where they're kind of melding into each other. Most of them feature this sense of people losing their boundaries. So I wanted to give this sense of kind of a closed tension between the characters, between the people or the figures in the piece. So that's kind of what I was trying to evoke with that, a closeness, a darkness. This one is a little kind of like a mournful feeling to me. As I was drawing it, it kind of felt, I started calling it The Mourner, and that's the title of it. So maybe it has that kind of a somber feeling to it.
And the bent neck, the insect, the half burial here that's going on. Yeah, that all plays into that feeling of decay and death and mourning.
Yeah, a kind of a stillborn thing maybe going on there. Yeah.
Are those themes you're generally drawn to, or?
Yeah, my work is usually darker like that. Yeah, usually in that field. Yeah.
I read an article today about sadness in popular music, like how successful sadness has been as a motif in music. Do you think it's been a successful motif in visual arts as well, sadness?
Yeah, probably. I think some mediums lend themselves to that more, like something like, I feel like etching or monotype or mezzotint, where you're working with a lot of heavy black inks, kind of let you speak those themes. I think they're a good language for those kinds of themes, so I could definitely see that working. Yeah, I think I look at a lot of artists I'm inspired by are definitely working with that kind of subject matter, like Goya, like James Ensor. The macabre, the darker side of things with that. Yeah.
What about the scale? What is your decision behind how approachable to make the size, or whether to go overwhelming? What's the calculation there?
I would like to work larger, and that's kind of something I wish I had taken advantage of more the past few months. Part of the working smaller as I do is, even doing a small etching like this just it's time consuming. A lot of time goes into producing the image. So it's kind of knowing I want to do a series. I kind of know I have to work at maybe a smaller scale. I would like to, though, branch out into some larger pieces.
Let's look at some of the other pieces as well down here. What's the title of this one here?
That's just Demon.
Oh, and it indeed looks like a demon.
Yeah, there you go. It's quite little. It was the full title in my mind was like the demon laments his fate. You know, he's kind of doing this lamentation into the night. So.
It's giving off another sort of dark vibe, but also I like the little figure peeking out behind the tree stump there.
Yeah. Oh,
Does he have a name as well?
No. I guess he's a little sidekick. I don't know.
And then there's a few more prints here as well, and more human figures, humanoid figures. I'm not sure what to call them, but what were you reaching for with these as well?
Again, with both of these, there is this theme of kind of forms blending and forms being not violated, but people kind of pushing into each other, especially one like that where the two figures are melding kind of into one. This one I spent a lot of times. I'll just kind of start with a very much just a fragment of an idea, and then the image will develop over time, and that's very much what happened with this one, where you can see there's a lot of scraping, a lot of going back in and kind of erasing of the image. So this, yeah, that was...
Well, now I want to ask you, are we talking about more familial type of relationships or romantic type of relationships, people melting into each other? Is this commentary on family, on love, on both?
I think it could be both. I think it could be any close relationship that we see. You know, I think this one to me it does have a family aspect to it, because this one is kind of a child figure. This is kind of an adult figure. So that to me I think is the kind of the relationship that they would have. But it's more, I'm also thinking just, I think with any relationship like that, any relationship that's intimate, these issues of boundaries come up.
Well, this is a good segue into asking about your family. Were they supportive of your artistic ambitions? Did you come from an artistic background? What kind of encouragement did you get when you set out on this path?
They weren't, my parents are kind of older immigrants, so they weren't too supportive.
Get a job at the post office?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You'll have a pension.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I had the same grandparents, by the way. My grandparents said that. Yeah. My mother or father really didn't get into it, like career path. But so they didn't. Did they appreciate the artwork at least when they saw it? What did they say?
Not too much. It was more.
Frivolity.
Yeah. It was more like, that's a nice hobby, so, and they have their point, sometimes.
It's tough to be a working artist, it is.
Definitely.
So where are you now in terms of your art and supporting yourself? I mean, do you have a main gig or you support yourself with your art?
I do. No, I wish. I do like a lot of little side hustles. I do quite a bit of teaching. I teach in Jersey City, in New York sometimes. And it's, as I said, it's kind of doing that hustle where you're trying to carve out blocks of time for your art, but make sure you have enough, so it's stuff like that.
Yeah, that's not easy. Yeah. So what did you think when you first discovered Guttenberg Arts, by the way?
When I first saw the place, it was really just blown away by how beautiful it is. I've worked at other print shops, and you're very much on top of each other, fighting over a press, and here it's just spacious. It's just a beautiful setup. I really love being here.
Space and time, as they like to say, yeah. Well, congrats on the opening, and I really love the work, so thank you. I'm going to interview the other folks in the show. Appreciate it.